podcast episode. Did a review, Very Magic Helmet. I am Alter, and we'll be reviewing episode 152 of My Hero Academia 7. And also, yeah, I keep having to preface it. We had the time, season 6 of Dragon Prince, 5 Moon. So I just caught on weird. Because you were just singing around. Probably bad. Trailer I had. We'll get to that later. Just really quick, what we'll do is we'll talk about My Hero Academia because I'm apparently the more excited about it. Oh, you're right. That's just phones. I guess basically this entire episode had a message that I hope people got, but like, I guess I'll be an overall spiel that I can get start discussing it. Pretty much, the episode focuses on the mini outbreak happening over by the castle, by the hospital where they're keeping Kurogiri, who's been there 5. They've already said that. That was like one of the things they were saying. And you caught onto that back when this happened. He is one of their more. Either that or you called it out. I'm not sure. Called it out. I mean, it's not shocking at the high end. They're an example of intelligent class, but it's not that smart. He's intelligent compared to it. For this episode, just basically just about Shoji, actually Shoji and Koji, the other kid, got a really weird shaped head. Let me retract that. Koji looks very different than other characters in the show. And actually, at first, I think I mentioned this last week, that I thought that's just part of the world. And I guess it's still true. Koji's look is a part of the world. But also I thought his name was Koda, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember. I feel like his name changed. Huh? Oh, part of his name might be Koda? Okay. That was confusing me because I thought his name was Koda. Okay, well his name is Koda. Basically, like, for Shoji, a little bit more than we Koji, Koda. We get to explore both these characters who've been in the background for most of the show at this point. But what really really starts this episode, our little backstory. Find out that because he looks different. Funnily enough, he doesn't look different all that much, other than his takes his mask off, like, which by the way, that's an impressive mask. It really flattens his up to make him human, don't you find that kind of interesting? It's a very interesting looking mask that he's got that's able to make him look human. Find out why he's wearing it. You also find out he even told his classmates at some point before all this happened about is a heteromorph. You know, backstory. Basically, his entire episode, ironically, considering what we got going on in life right now. Won't get into that. But you know, I've said this before, like My Hero Academia does a good job at every time. Important. This is just Earth, modern day Earth, with just powers thrown. This episode to me really highlights how real Hero can get, because discrimination is a big, like, overall target on a, you know, Horikoshi, the guy who writes the storyboards, to me really hit the, I guess, the finer points of discrimination. Because Shoji, we see it's hit with it a little bit because people in his neighborhood did not like the way he looked foreign. It showcases like the worst part of humanity, which is our inability to accept different things. Horrible, but I really appreciate that Horikoshi had the ball. And not even just that, he seeded hetero going on with them. I think a season. It might have been last season. I think was it last season when Deku went rogue? So I'm gonna take you on a little journey here. Do you remember when Deku, after he had went rogue and whatnot, and apparently he was getting help from All Might and Endeavor, I think even Eraser, when they were looking out for All for One, and I think they thought they had found him. Thing that apparently did this. I don't know what episode that was, but I know there was an episode where, you know, Deku thought he found him. This is back when he was really, I gotta go out all, like, I do it myself. I mean, All for One, all by myself. But he had help from the other heroes. So when they didn't find him, I think they got attacked by a bunch of. But what I want to bring attention to the episode, don't remember them. But they seeded the whole idea that heteromorph, and they might have been seeding this idea. This is like closest memory I remember when they brought up heteromorphs. I think I remember ever seen this. Bring attention to it like important for something. Granted, albeit it's not really all that important to fans that is happening in the doesn't make. I don't want people to get upset when I this. Listen to the pitch. Just one. It's a mini story, kind of like how in the real world, like there's one of those situations. Like, this has been happening. Background brought up. Thanks to who is really a remarkable force this episode. Kind of scares me. For the most part, the story has never scared me. Saying something. Considering he's probably the most docile villains. This episode, I think I'm even making maybe out of the issue, or isn't really that. I know you said that he's still believe. I don't even know at this point. I what he's doing now, like granted, I mean, a lot of what he's doing now is kind of backed by the powers that. So he's the one doing. He hasn't killed anybody, thankfully. But he nearly did with Shoji, stabbing him to the. But Yeah, but not Soji, but Spinner is showing that he hates He-Man. Apparently, Shigaraki, which he is Blizzard, because that's just powers terminated. But I guess to back up a little bit, really highlight this episode kind of begin flashback. See the city that I think hospital is. See that police cannot handle riot, and I think there's I think they said 1,500 billions are all hetero more charging the city. I think the number was. He also sent Spinner in a liberation front leader. I forgot about that. We'll get to him. Man, that is terrifying image. Just having a guy with a shark head charging you. These guys look really cool, though. I mean, this guy over here, I think he looks really. Yeah, that's it. Probably the point. Yeah, I've seen him. I mean, thanks to the Flash DC, he was kind of made nice. What I mean is the Flash. Right, I should say this now. Stop myself. Aren't you and Jesse watching the CW show The Flash? I'm shutting up. I didn't even know. There you go. Okay. We're just gonna move on with the episode that we're watching right now. Then, okay, I got confirmation. There are 15,000 people.
An hour and a half, and then he says it was an honor to do battle by your side at the very end. Okay, you can go on.
No, it's not that. I just want to apologize. I was not aware that this just fixed it, and thankfully you didn't say anything until the last few seconds.
What?
Apparently OBS was just. I have OBS set to listen to this. For whatever reason, this OBS was saying that Discord doesn't. Why? So I kicked it and get it to get good now, but it wasn't a problem, so I just noticed it. And apparently, I know we weren't saying a lot at the very beginning, so it doesn't even matter. Here's what I'm saying.
I said stuff about how I like the artwork.
Well, you got that now. Thing. I don't know why, and this one wasn't even my fault. OBS, I don't know. I should start. Only really issue about Riverside version. An hour. I already know how. Pay for it. So that would require you to have a webcam. guess I gotta keep. Gotta keep. Back to the King's Heart tangent. Oh, sorry. I got the number 15,000 people. Heteromorphs. They are like causing a riot in the city, and I just want to bring attention to this image here. All of these people, good lord. Even in a normal situation, this would be too much. These are people with powers.
It's small powers. They're normies, so they're like small powers for the most part.
And this big mass of agglomeration, it's like, I mean, they all individually are small people, but like, I mean, in this mass, no, they're doing way more damage. Like, I mean, normal people in a mob could like, you know, could really set a city ablaze, but this is ridiculous. Like, flames. On top of it, it's just like, apparently I was watching something, I didn't even realize this, but the policemen are normies too. I think there might be a few that actually are kind of superhero-y, kind of. Most of them are just normal. I didn't even really think about that until now, at least until like the end of the episode where the gorilla dude pulled out a gun, which that really caught me off guard. I was like, gun in my hair, goddamn.
And he fires it too. They switch away, and you don't see him use it, but you hear it.
Yeah, I think he shoots like 3 rounds. I think.
It's almost at the end of the episode when he does it.
I wonder who he hit, but
he definitely hit somebody. It'd be hard to miss.
Yeah, there's just massive people like causing an uprising because they've been discriminated against. People don't like the way they look. Which
but the dangerous thing about firing the guns is that like now the other side can escalate too. The dangerous thing about firing the gun is it's like now the other side can escalate too and start getting more violent and dangerous.
That's true. But you know, they're like, you got President Mike. You got President Mike in this mess. You got Lockjaw. I think that's his name. I forgot the name of the guy that you know can lock things in place. Koda's also helping you, you know, with the animals. Kind of cool. Koda's showing some real usability with his like his animal, being able to talk to animal power. Also, another thing too. Apparently, they're being called a mob, and apparently they're saying we're not a mob, which I guess is not, which is actually kind of correct. A mob is like a unorganized mass of people. This is like an organized effort. Get to Kirigiri. What the heck is that thing? That's not an animal. I guess this is another thing I can maybe I can get some clarification on. I always thought like heteromorphs meant people who were mixed animals, right? I'm actually starting to wonder if heteromorphs is a more general term than I think. And I say that because this guy right here, I just noticed is a part of the pack. Like he's got like metal limbs and stuff like that and a metal face. Is it just people that look different? Is that what they're called? Like, if that's the case, then I'm actually kind of wondering if Tsukiyomi is a too. Because even if he is, it doesn't seem like he's afraid of people knowing what he looks like. It's just one of those things I've had a question about ever since the term kind of came up. All like a spinners like on their flags up here. I wonder what that says. I wish I could read Japanese.
It says spinner's a winner.
You know what? You're probably right. Is that a jellyfish?
He's a winner.
What is that back there? Yeah, a mushroom? Oh, I couldn't make his head out. Those are gills. It took me a minute to realize there were eyes on that head. Man, they really took the liberty of drawing a lot, and I mean a lot of like random designs. this person here with the face, that's got like the helmet thing on it. Yeah, then they jump Cody and like call him a. That's kind of, I was like, I wonder if he's a heteromorph because they call Koji a traitor.
I think he counts as a heteromorph.
They have to, because like they call him a traitor, and they also call Shoji a traitor too. So I was like, they only seem to call people that look different, look like them as a traitor. Everybody else is just a discriminatory a-hole. But they rip Koji's face mask off that helps him talk to animals off his face. It's like really messed up. And he's asking like, why are you doing this? So, I think we all know why they're doing it. People don't like the way they look. You're like second-class citizens. Wait a minute. I just saw like apparently it looks like the president of principal, I should say, of like the academy is also heteromorph too. It's just that he's just an animal that got powers though. Seems kind of interesting because I think they list him as one. Because I mean, on top of that, the heteromorphs actually they also list that dude that's flying in the air, like leading the charge. He lists like I think 3 events. I'm guessing history that probably a lot of people like a lot of their people got killed because they look different. And apparently, that they were saying that things are different now. They don't treat heteromorphs like that anymore. But then he brings up an interesting point, which is true. Is that's only in the educated cities that got a lot of people, good education. Not like the backwoods area country part of the world. Like they don't have those same benefits. So if you look different and you were born out there, you're not gonna see anything different happen. You're gonna get the same thing you've been getting. Again, discrimination, not fair to anybody. Like I just
Coming up in a couple seconds in the episode is that guy with the key, the black guy with the key themed hero.
And he's the one that like locks things in place. I just don't remember his name.
Yeah, I love what they shout at him. Have you ever thought, if only I didn't look like this?
Yeah, I know. I literally was like, this is a discriminatory episode, and they got a black guy is the one they yelled at you.
And then like you could never understand, and he's looking at them, and I'm just like, this is a little editorial.
I think it was mostly just to be funny. I guess not really funny, more like
Ironic.
Yeah, ironic. I think is the best way to put it. Is like I think that's just more. It's meant to be more ironic than anything else because, like, I mean, again, as I said before, this is just Earth but with powers thrown in. So it's just this is our world with powers thrown in. It's funny to me that like essentially what happened is powers getting thrown in, history got changed a little, and instead of like, I'm guessing. If there was slavery of black people, it didn't live long because it doesn't seem like black people treated differently. Something that huge thing that comes up. It's the heteromorphs that are the ones that are doing like the campaigning, want equal rights and what. Just based on that fact alone, if there was slavery and enslavement of different colored people, it didn't last long. And one of those things that wherever it got ended. Unfortunately, they got the brunt of they got the brunt of the hate. Apparently, heteromorph people are trying to pretty much kill people is what they're doing. They're trying to rush to Kurogiri. In the meantime, or maim them, whatever comes first. Meanwhile, we have Spinner, who at first is like, this is a drooling mess. I mean, this image doesn't. doesn't not prove my point. I don't know what's really going on with Spinner in this episode, because it seemed like maybe he wasn't in control of himself at some points. Because he seemed like he was fighting things in his own mind as people were running around doing things around him. He seemed to be the one that was like just not sure what he was doing or like what to do next. Going on, I don't know. He just seemed very confused in his own brain. Speaking of Spinner, I in this whole mess, I was watching a reaction, channel as I do episode. Something was brought up that kind of is interesting, and maybe this would tickle your brain a little bit. And this actually kind of has to do with Spinner. What do you think would happen if Stain showed up?
Right now, he'd drool on him. You might not even recognize him. His mind is almost gone.
I don't know, because I think Spinner is still in there. And I say this mainly because later on in the episode when, after he gains the scale mail and whatnot, and Tentacle decks him in the face, or he decks him through his armor, Spinner to me seems like he comes back a little bit there, because he's he's on the wall of a building and he's saying that his hate will never go out, and that doesn't sound like the words of somebody who's not in there. So I mean, he also made the argument that maybe that's just a hate thing. I don't know. I'm gonna go on the premise that he's still in there, and I don't know if he can still be saved, considering that, again, to me, saving him would be fixing the main issue that's burning in his heart, and we know it won't get fixed, not in these few years he's living.
I feel sorry for Spinner. I feel, yeah, I've been waiting the whole series for him to turn into a good guy. I think they wrecked him. They completely wrecked the character, turned him into a giant, mindless, almost like a Nomu. And I just feel sorry for him. I feel really bad for the character. I think the character was redeemable.
You already know how I don't think they wrecked him. I think this was just the logical progression of his character, because again, it wasn't if he was just doing evil things, and on top of that, what I want to also bring up is this entire show that he's been a part of it, he's done nothing in the background. He's been sitting there looking at other people do things, take action. He's been questioning what he's been doing there the entire time. And and I guess I would say the whole redeemable thing, maybe my mind's changed a little bit. I don't know if he needed to be redeemed. I think maybe what he needed to do was make a decision. I think it's really what it came down to. If he had never killed anybody, and what did he need to be redeemed for? I guess in my opinion,
he needed to be redeemed for anything. He still hasn't killed anybody, by the way.
That's also what I was saying. For me, it's if a character needs to be redeemed, to me, redeeming means they done something reprehensible. He's done nothing. And on top of that, I said this last week. I think I've said this even current going throughout the course of this character, me watching him. Nothing I've ever said has been against this character. What I've said is Spinner literally is what happens to a racist. And I hate to even use that word here in this podcast, because I like to avoid it, even though. But to be real, Spinner is literally what happens to somebody, and when you beat them down treat them like they're not human because they look different. I mean, yeah, it may sound like I'm getting a little bit upset here, but it's just kind of for me, it's I think this is just where his character was gonna go, unless something changed that he saw that could mean that that could mean a change for the world. A lot of this doing and why he's attacking people, leading an attack on the hospital, doing what doing what One for All said, all for one, because he's really there to push Shigaraki up. But he sees Shigaraki a way out of misery that he's living, because again, he is an example of people that has been that has been spat on, and I think it's a good episode showing that sometimes violence isn't, but unfortunately Spinner is at a point right now. What else is there? The people that are around him that heroes are trying to save are just as bad as they are. He doesn't see any difference. Now, granted, I'm pretty sure that the bodybuilding quirk and then the scale mail later on top of that isn't helping his mental capacity. But again, I want to say he was not mentally stable to begin. I mean, he was there at some point, but then after like him trying to figure out because he's doing things, I would say. I think in his brain he knows what's more right, but unfortunately because his hatred is stronger than knows is morally right, he's in a rock and a hard place. Fortunately, he has to do what All for One says. All for One could kill him, and he also doesn't like humans. So like, where does he go from here? I wouldn't say even humans. He doesn't like people. He doesn't like normal people. People who don't look. I mean, they actually go out and like on a rant here in the middle of the episode. If only we didn't look like this. It's obvious. It's like, unfortunately, Spinner gets caught in the discrimination storyline. I think this is where he's meant to be, and like, if you still believe he can be saved or whatever, I don't know if he needs to really be saved. I don't know what he needs, but something needs to happen. But and it's funny too that Shoji's the one that I guess is like the character they decided to do it with, because like Spinner's been in the background, so has Tentacle, and I never really thought about that at first. Was like, I guess it makes sense. The Heromorph characters are the ones that are in the background for the most part, and then they're coming out for this episode. Unfortunately, Tentacle doesn't really do any lasting damage. She just punches him, and it causes Spinner to, I guess, wake back up, and then attack the hospital at the end. What we see the gun being pulled by the gorilla dude, who says that they're getting more unstable. We don't know what else to do here, so he pulls out the gun, which again is another logical thing that happened. Police is that when they feel they're threatened, I unfortunately foresee gonna be 3 dead, 3 injured Heteromorphs.
Why is that?
Huh?
Why is that?
There was a gun. There was gunshots.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, somebody got shot, like you said. It's just one of those things. Like, I mean, what's happening right now is literally, it's just of different people. That's typically what happens. Again, I don't. Back to the race thing. There's been a support date in the episode. On Black people violence. I won't get into any. If they're doing what's supposed to. But then this episode doing this, explaining sorry, just got it. Yeah, this also doesn't. I realize I actually, beyond the story, I like that discrimination. Gonna create your own villains. And I also like the little bit of like story we got on Shoji. Find out like one of the main reasons why he wants to be that little girl he ended up saving. One good member has, and because like she was crying arms, which you can see that in that moment Shoji was trying to pull back because he probably didn't think the girl him, but she just grabbed onto him harder. Just I cried out. So that was a little bit nice of a moment, kind of like refocus Shoji's mental capacity on, and then Coda for him. too, where he's fighting for somebody he cares about very deeply, to the point where awakens a part of his abilities apparently, which it's apparently his mother calls those the whole point. Also, top of that, it looks like Koda changes very visibly too. I guess, what do you think about Koda when his forehead started cracking?
It looked like a crown. It looked like it was turning into a crown. I didn't get why it glowed.
I mean, President Mike said something about like quirks were getting stronger over the generations. Maybe that's just what that was. He even says like Tentacle and Anima, like were already the representatives of quirks getting stronger.
Oh, you think he's having like some sort of revelation with his quirk? I don't think he's been pushed that far yet.
I mean, I don't think for a quirk to awaken, like I think every quirk has a different like awakening thing. Because all his quirk does is talk to animals. I just think it just allows him to like push his feelings out there more strongly.
Yeah.
I also like the little story of like Koda's parents. Koda has a human has a normal father. Mother looks. I actually kept looking at his mother. I'm wondering if she's supposed to be a deer. That's what he's supposed to be. Both little forest animal.
I suppose so.
I think
it's kind of ambiguous though.
There's not many animals out there that have horns. The only thing, well, I guess deers don't have horns. Whatever, but it's just.
I mean, it's a pink Muppet looking thing with like a full head of hair and a couple horns sticking out.
Woman, how dare you?
Oh my god, it looks like a Muppet.
That is a person. Feelings. She doesn't look like what you would think is normal. It doesn't mean she's a Muppet.
She resembles a Muppet. I'm tripling down on it.
I don't think she looks like a Muppet, and that's not even me trying to fight back. Just I don't think she looks.
You don't agree with anything I say.
I'm looking at her right now. I don't. It looks more like a dinosaur to me, but that's just a personal opinion.
You're gonna make me find a Muppet that looks like that.
Of course you're gonna do that. I don't know why you would do that. Let's let her be. Can't she just be a person? Why does she gotta be a Muppet? He's looking up a Muppet.
Definitely looks like a Muppet. I don't feel like finding one, but like she definitely looks like she'd fit right in with these Muppets I'm looking at.
I feel like I just want to show her fist up.
The closest I can get is in Discord. The Muppet on the right. That shaped head. $10 by the way. Don't forget we have another episode to review.
I'm still standing by what I said.
You're a Muppet.
Kermit the Frog. I cannot do that.
Kermit T. Frog here.
How do people do that?
Kermit T. Frog here.
I don't know how people do that. I think everything I said everything I could say about like the episode. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Horikoshi.
I didn't enjoy this episode as much. The characters are like some of my least favorite characters. Not that I dislike them, but they're my least favorite characters. and I was really disappointed with what Spinner turned into. I was waiting, like, now that we had Spinner ready to go, I wanted to see him do something like interesting. If he didn't get redeemed, I at least wanted to see him be like an inspirational, like revolutionary, and like he wasn't. He's just like this almost mindless monster, like crawling around on like building sides and stuff like that. And
I think that was cool. He
it
kind
was
of looks like a dragon off the wings.
yeah, I know, but it was Spinner.
I guess I just didn't have this attachment that. It's not like I don't like Spinner. I think he's interesting. I think he's more interesting now, man, because points I brought up was.
It's a waste of the buildup that they gave him. They built him up for like
I don't know if you think that's
7
true.
or 8 seasons.
I don't think that's true because, like, for the most part, I don't know what buildup you're referring to, really, because, like, again, he literally was in the background most of it. On top of that, anytime there was any action going, yeah, he didn't kill anybody, but in reality, he didn't kill anybody. Making choices, nothing's really changed with him. Here, doing the exact same thing. Now he's got
Yeah,
more
but
power.
I wanted to see something change, and I didn't want it to be he turns into a mindless Hulk. Like,
Yeah, but at the same time, like they've already built this up. Like I said this before. Like maybe you didn't believe me, but like they had this build up where he would anytime we were with her, we'd always go back to that moment that he was in the room by himself, listening. People talk about how they don't want. I don't think I said those exact words, but there were various scenes with him. I think he even do it here with flashback to him. Or no, that was a flash hockey. But it's just like what happened when like hate on somebody just because of the way they look. No, it's dumb, but at the same time, it's what the world's like. Beat down on some so long before they fight back. I think this is just what happens to Spinner if you action him. He's been holding on to a lot of hate when out with Murder Hulk. How you? I think this is a logical direction for him. I don't think he's far from being able to. If he is able, I mean, if he still can change, I think he's still. Again, he doesn't like even here. He's been hesitating. Most of the episode, he's been sitting there hesitating in his own mind because he's got something going on in that brain, but he's been hesitating. And that other guy, that voice of the people, been consistent. Like misinterpreting on purpose. Like honestly, everything that's happening to me makes the most. Unfortunately, because of the way he looks, been mistreated. A character like that doesn't suddenly change his mind. I'm a good. There has to be some actual force that show him there's another. Fortunately, hasn't been. Tentacle didn't make a point enough. One of the two. I don't know what would happen. This character has been boiled in this question of. It's just like now, 7. We probably could have dealt with this. It's cool. I think it is right now. Feeling is right. Maybe we could have dealt with. But at the same time, like I mean, here now, I think what they're doing is. I don't think Spinner's character has been. I think there's a chance that he could come out of this different or dead. I don't know what happened. Hope different. I don't know. I don't think Spinner's character's been. I don't know what you were really expecting, and I wasn't expecting this. I'm not like. I don't think this is like. Spinner is ruined.
He is ruined forever.
I really don't think he is.
What's he gonna do to get better?
I mean, somebody's got to get through him. It sounds like to me, based on everything, observing his actions, he is still that guy that's still like very like hesitant on things. Like he only made the decision to raid the hospital at the last minute when he rampaged. He has been he has been second guessing his choices. Shoji has been talking to him. Always a chance that like he could come to somebody else, knocking to it. I don't know. I don't think his character's right. And if it is, I mean, this was. I mean, what do you expect from a character who literally, like, showing that he didn't like humanity going? A lot of it has to do with the fact that how he was. You can't tell somebody who was mistreated, they're wrong, had not been like in the same way or even worse. Like, that is literally the epitome of he's only knows it unless he's shown that someone had it just as bad as he was. And Shigaraki was one. Shigaraki had a bad childhood. Those two literally made a friendship based off of that. I think this is really all that was gonna come down to. I don't know where you thought this come out of this as a good guy. I never saw that one bit. I think I even told you I don't think I ever saw Spinner good guy. Like he's too
Spinner turning into yet another hulking, boring, like it's boring. It's a boring.
You're missing some of what led up to this though. What happened to him? You can't tell. I know you find that in discrimination your entire life that it should come out of this a different way. Unless you prove to them that nobody's done that. No one other Rocky's way. Unless somebody had found him, maybe he could have come differently. I don't think, based on what's going on, their upbringing, what has happened, like, what the course of everything, there's motivation. Really, people are cruel. People don't like the way I look. Why should I? You can't tell somebody who has that mind that doesn't work. Regardless of the hulking, I think that's just the natural progression of.
Yeah.
Spinner is literally this entire episode. Information. Stop being mean to each other. Give each other like. Unfortunately for Spinner age. Guess far too long. But yeah, I like this episode a lot more. Which I mean, he has the right to not like this episode. I'm not saying that what he's feeling is wrong. I'm just saying that in all reality, this was to me the logical route for him. I never saw a path of light for all this specific during that. A lot of what his character would have. Maybe if it wasn't that, maybe. Fortunately, had a little more stopped. He never experienced grow up in a nice community. Get hated, everything like other hetero boy. Called grew up in a nice place. Spinner's situation. Unfortunately, he's here being a villain. Okay, with that, Dragon Prince. He's in 5. Moonless Night. I
See,
guess
now
like
I
an
like
overall.
this episode.
Hmm?
I like this episode.
Right. Sorry, that was nothing really. I would just like, first you're gonna throw that in there. That's really what that was. That silence was just like you're gonna throw that. All right. The
Oh, yeah.
episode Moonless Night. Overarching story. This one after like, 3 of those.
You know what I like about it? Rayla accomplishes something, but she doesn't turn into a hulking, mindless behemoth.
You're literally upset. I don't know. I just was not that attached to him. Maybe if I attached to really did much of it back when he
I was just curious about like where his storyline was going.
didn't have. He hated it.
He grew up persecuted, and he was biding his time throughout the whole series. Like he was gonna do something important.
He was persecuted. Now he's gonna do the persecution. Somebody who's been hated there.
Okay, look.
Turn the other cheek. You can't do that. You just can't.
Okay, maybe being persecuted for the way you look is not like as novel and exciting for a black person as it is for me.
I'm not saying it's exciting. I just like that Karakoshi, he literally saw enough. He went for. He didn't need to do this. Heteromorphs could have just been left out, or like the whole storyline of heteromorphs being. He really could have done. He didn't. Tackled it, and I'm actually just, I'm in awe that he. Because like most animes don't do that. Like you may see hints that there might be racism. If that's ever what they are, ever going. Like I mean, it's clear you can see that there must be some of it. At least he that they're in. I'm gonna do this. Or isn't gonna be all happy, farting out the orifices. Or yeah, just.
So Callum and Rayla are tasked by the elder of the Sky Elves to find this beast that prevents a moonless night and to slay it, so that they can take their masks off and see the sky. And they go out, and it's pretty intense. And they actually find a beast. And the beast is not what they thought it was. It's actually a legendary creature. The pet of a legendary creature. Sorry, I'm just trying to get you off the My Hero Academia episode.
No, sorry, I'm just that message responding to it. Can you?
Well, I did it right, but I skipped over too much.
Well then, I mean, I think the only thing in between all that was literally just not Colin, but Soren, that him like going to his father back and forth. That and Rayla, Colin talking about Colin convincing Rayla to go along with them, slay the magical beast. Oh
Why?
yeah, and then there's a little bit of a hint of Ezran going to see wedding. He threw that in there.
Yeah, so and then they're worried about Zubea and everything else. There's like a lot of little like news updates there. It's sort of a subtle like recap.
Yeah, I mean like Soren goes to father, bread rolls, Baron tries to like smooth things over, and so clearly very conflicted.
Hmm. They have that weird little like imagery of a fly with yellow wings stuck in the spider web. Did you notice that around 438?
Probably more meant to represent Baron. Thinks he's still like taught by Erebos, but I guess my biggest question is at the end of the episode, Varen has that nightmare hearing Erebos' voice. He's just yelling into the ether that, you won't have me again, you won't ever. It's like, Varen not know that Callum is.
He doesn't seem particularly aware of it. Does he have a reason to be aware of how powerful a mage he is, even if he knows he's a mage?
I don't know. It just weird that it's like, to me, Varen still thinks, and maybe he is. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he hears the words. Control. If Varen thinks that he's talking, I guess he has no reason to not think talking about it. Does it sound like Varen is a weak? You've seen he's capable.
Yeah.
This not me. Why? I thought. How long can you? Maybe he doesn't know. I wonder. Alan was.
Especially true magic.
Cause not anything. This is like. Aaron does. When he finds out that Baron knows able to I guess Varen is kind of where he right now.
He's where he needs to be. Although he may never not be where he needs to be next. I think he's going to stay there.
I mean, Soren's like left in charge of.
Mm-hmm. Which is an interesting choice.
Well, I mean, the thing is, we see. I guess we can talk about this little scene in it. Talking point, but they have Varen talking to, calling in sorry he is it Soren and almost talking to Soren and talking about apologize for everything. I will say when he was talking to Soren and talking about how proud of it, like, were you getting like hints that maybe Varen was trying to talk to that Soren?
Yeah.
It's like,
because if he's going to start trying to make up with Soren, he's got to start at the beginning.
I was like, I was talking to him, and it's just like, to me, it's like he sounded like, because I remember back last season having his zombie mode adventure with what his life was prior. Claudia had some. First, he was very happy and somewhere that. And even like Baron goes on to say that I've done things that no Soren at first, like, Soren's not hearing any of it. He's coming back. It seems like Soren is struggling right now. I guess he wants to forgive his father, but he can't, because then he has that outrage, that little outburst that he has at Baron that kind of scares Baron. I was like, wow, that's It's interesting. I don't think we've seen Soren get mad since season 1. I want to like really mad, really like really. I want to punch you in the face, mad. I don't think we've seen Soren get that upset before. Wow, could be wrong, but I don't think we have.
I don't think we've seen Soren get that upset. Period.
I feel like he must have gotten upset like that in the first. Could be wrong. I don't. I'm not gonna go back to go and search the archives. It's either one of the two, but at the same time, it's one of those things like I'm like, oh, that's Soren really upset. I guess another thing too is like up to this point, this season, last two, Soren, ever since he left his father, and whatnot, and had no, connection. Or Soren had always been everything, sunshine and rain, essentially, for him. You never saw Soren get sad or sad or anything. And based on that reaction he had there, which is probably one of your moments, I'm kind of curious if maybe feeling a lot of his father had to him, he had just been bottling him up, so not letting him. Why he's always optimistic, like the things you do when you don't want to feel your own.
Yeah.
It's like at the last interaction that has apologizes, tells him like, I want you to have my work, have them now. Which is interesting wording. Die, be around. If Soren will. Then we see Soren again for the first time displaying another emotion. Crying. That was also interesting. I don't know what's going on with Soren. This is apparently important for some. They're setting the stage for. I don't know what that's something.
What's he gonna do if he throws the door open and says, "You're free, Dad, go"?
But no, it's almost like in the future that may involve Aaron in a life or death situation. I don't know. I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about something. It sounds like something in the future is gonna happen. Gonna have Soren and Vera.
Yeah.
Because again, like I mean, up to this point, Aaron has done. He's apologizing now. Cool. I would have to think. Honestly, I hear all the time. Can't really. For some reason. I mean, some people challenge you. I don't think. Because I hate somebody that much. Hurt you. Now you feel. To me, it's like Soren at this last interaction he had, he was like, "Why are you doing?" I just moved on, and not all of the emotions are coming. I'm not sure what ulterior plan they had. A dragon rider. Even very brings the fact that
Yeah. He had a long time to think about what he wanted to say too.
That's that. It's just one of those things. I mean, I could get like he does the facade. Baron is very convincing to. I mean all of it. Soren doesn't. I mean, honestly, I mean him again, leaning back everything in one, like Darren's how Soren like dotted on his daughter more. All of a sudden now, Darren's in the prison. I think 3 years after father said. I think someone wants to forget. Doesn't think find it. He can find it in.
I think he loves his father too, though.
I mean, obviously, again, I still stand by it. Can't hate somebody that. I don't know. Like again, like I don't know. Like Baron might die. I guess. What would kill? Especially if Darren thinks. That'd be an interesting story arc too. Darren thinks afraid of Erebos, hold of him again. Best way to kill yourself. Because Erebos can't exactly revive him unless.
I think he's free of Erebos' influence. I think he's like not corrupt. I think the body came back without corruption. You don't think Viren what?
I don't think Varen thinks that. I mean, based on the last thing we see of Varen freaking out, he's like, when he's hearing Erebos' brain, he's freaking out. That's what I was saying. Does Varen know that Callum can use magic? To me, it's like, I mean, Varen would think Varen would know that, you know, he's not the only mage out there that Erebos magic. It's kind of weird. Like, yeah, I get definitely free of the Erebos, but it seems like Varen thinks he can still be controlled by Erebos.
Yeah.
Speaking of Callum, we can move on to the next portion with brought up monster prophecy. Rayla pretty much as they're about to go to sleep, they like we need to leave. She's thinking we can't do this. Chosen to. And then Callum does the whole like maybe we're not the mage and warrior, but an important. I was listening to thinking about like this always how the hell works. There's a prophecy, but then the two people that show up aren't exactly what the prophecy at first, and then something happens and becoming the prophecy. I just thought it was kind of funny that, huh?
It's kind of an old trope.
I'm just saying it's kind of Callum is the one kind of speak. I think Callum knows that he was just like exactly. And then he convinces Rayla really easily, by the way. He tells her that, you know, they end up pretty much going out to go to sleep. Like finally Rayla wakes up, Callum brings. She says a comically block of ice into. And then like Callum asks to borrow her Tarzan sign. I guess ice melting. It shows that he needs to carve the sigil in. So that was interesting. I'm guessing that means Callum can. Meaning that we're probably gonna. He needs to carve a sigil. I'm stretching. Maybe that's not too far of a stretch. But they go and meet the creature on the middle of the wandering around. As Rayla's about to actually go carve the sigil, yes, she notices, tells Callum that pet friend of some, and apparently Rayla knew the creature was when, and apparently the Lunar Princess when the Lunar Dragon was around. What the hell? How long did the dragon die? surprisingly,
Hmm.
that was interesting. Rayla ends up calming him down with lullaby. Um,
Very
it's
badly
just
sung lullaby.
lullaby sung to her sung early. I want to point out her like pet thing, butter monkey. What those opals that default season ago.
Yeah.
I want to make sure because I know where'd you get? I remember this monkey doing.
Yeah, it's constantly swiping little things here and there.
Wait, why can't they put in the?
That's a good place to keep it until
Is there
you
a
lose your
reason why they don't?
monkey.
Sorry, the next I met with thing that a girl in high school said, don't touch my monkey. Or don't know why. Funny reason. Why about that? Yeah, but like why don't? Perfect place. Call that a plot hole. Or maybe don't have yeah, or like Rayla just I don't know. Tom's the beast. Then this guy. That guy. Random character to discover after that let him go power souls are like finally look dark sky. Let's go in and send all the elves take off their blindfolds. Then one of the elves from the pair that was howling up finally able to everybody that he looks at that Rayla tells her. You know what he tells Rayla? Tells Rayla all her stuff.
No, I don't remember. I'm
Not
sorry.
important. What's the problem? I think he's assuming with like apparently like for a start. And he looks at Callum with screams that eyes turn. And that's when
Through the moon, your drop of empathy sends ripples out into the ocean of time. Ripples that have not yet stilled. That was the message to Rayla.
kindness
And then to
leads
Callum, but your star is. And he like shrinks in pain. And his eyes go black. Darkness. And then he passes out.
get to count. Basically, it sounds like kindness that drag back to read her in a few. Because I was right about that dragon. I don't know for And Callum, guessing that during the after that, then hear Eric talking. Aaron free. Never have me again. Own. I panic too. You know, it's like I was thinking, I was like, I'm gonna go into he doesn't know. Assuming that. The only thing that would make sense, act like he was. Maybe if Aaron came back.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he had a second. I think he came there to do what he felt was the right thing. I don't think he came there to get protection or use anybody in any way. I don't think it was selfish at all.
I don't know. He like when he's talking, when he's telling to the Void, regardless of any, it does seem like he's selfless for you. But it seems kind of weird that like, he would hear Erebos'. He would think that. Then again, I don't know what plan. Kind of use. Alan, it's Alan's gonna get. Stuff is interesting. That's not. And that case library thing. You know that place better than the
Erebos?
they were like we're filled up right now. There was Sea Library, but I'm pretty sure we found out that it's bigger in there than the library.
I think it's much bigger than that. I think the library is just where the mirror was kept.
Where's Arrows? Oh yeah, and the main reason Alum came down get a prize. A couple of that are only parents tricked Rayla and help get it her parents. Did it because he told her what no reason back out of it. I think it makes sense. Doesn't do it. That was coming. I was like, just somebody. In guitar moment. Hope to know. Y'all win that.
Yeah, there's like again, there's no particular spot where I think that he has to know. Do you know what I mean? The only thing that would happen is if Claudia told him, because Claudia knows he uses magic, but I don't think he's used it in front of Viren.
You know that, but what like I'm really getting at is like the moment that Viren started out, Erebos feels like I'm processing that moment. Why is Viren so afraid that if he's definitely devoid of any, he shouldn't be afraid hearing Erebos' mind. I mean, yeah, he been with Erebos for 4 seasons, 5 seasons. And he'd be afraid of him, but he knows that he can't be controlled. Why fear? Okay, why is he afraid of him? That's what I was. That's when I not know how one can maybe he talking about.
Yeah.
Another thing too, did Eric about Callum was? Or did I imagine it?
Did he what?
When Erebos took over Callum, that I thought maybe Erebos something failure about Callum.
I don't remember that. I just remember him using Callum.
But whatever it is, I'm like, I guess the really Callum was just, I feel like the fact that Vera himself that made talking about very peculiar. Or maybe it arrow.
Viren is? I mean, he's just having a nightmare involving Erebos.
It was dream, but it almost after the elf shrieked the he saw. Then we heard Erebos, hearing Erebos over to Aaron. It was kind of weird that time to transition to Aaron Erebos' voice over.
Which part of the episode are we talking about here? Because I think maybe I need to rewatch something. The human mage, already tainted by darkness, and destined to play right into my hands. Viren thinks it's him. He doesn't think it's Callum.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is, why would Viren think that? Viren believes that out of Erebos didn't think that the idea of that him taking over a mage. It's basically what I'm saying is like, if Viren thinks it's him, Erebos is already taking over Callum, going up, pretty much know that Erebos is talking about. Why would Viren think it's him? Viren knew that Callum. Guessing that makes more sense. Doesn't know. Whenever he hears that if he's actually here, thinks it's him. Callum was him.
Yeah. So he's mistaken because it's Callum that is the human mage.
That's what I was saying. That was kind of weird because I was like, when I saw that, that's when I thought, does he about Callum? Guessing, assuming it's him.
Yeah, I think he doesn't know about Callum.
I feel like that would be like a really important detail. Parents and Oh well,
Yeah. Not a lot he can do from there except talk to Soren.
maybe a sword up to him. Ogvir.
It's like, why would you bring it up unless
I
you were
know.
going to bring it up? As big a
Honestly, like,
deal as
why
it
would you?
is.
Why? I feel like it seems weird after the work by darkness, Alan, Aaron, that me to show that Easter taught me that. To me, that doesn't seem right. Like Aaron's got to roll. No, whatever. I know I'm going.
I don't know. I like how you said that.
I really don't know. Like, why do that unless there's a point? That's what came to mind. Alan, really? It's the question that I keep posing. Doesn't know. But then your question is, why should he? There's the
Mm-hmm.
problem. Like, why does he hung up that he has a right to think that it's taking over? Look at me. It's a detail that I honestly don't think they're gonna solve this episode.
Oh, is there? That's a lot.
Next one is I wonder why the episode 7 is called Red Wedding. Gotta know. Coming out Saturday. Finally, enough. I get that 3.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do with my Labor Day. Originally, I was going to go to my grandparents for a couple days because my grandmother's been collapsing. Like,
Want this on the podcast?
oh, I'm sorry.
I'm asking him. Your personal. Okay, with it.
I thought we were off the podcast. I'm sorry.
Don't want it.
It doesn't matter to me either way. I just.
If you want to continue.
Okay.
Got like 9 minutes.
My grandmother keeps collapsing, and they don't know why. They keep coming up with all these different reasons that they think might be it. And my grandfather's been pressuring me also. My grandfather's in his 80s. And he's been pressuring me to come down and go swimming with him this summer. And Labor Day weekend's like kind of the last chance to do it. So I've been thinking about going down there and spending a couple days and going swimming and everything else. And I have to go down there anyway because my brother's daughter's birthday is this weekend, and we were going to go anyway to celebrate that. But we were going to stay at my grandparents' house, and my uncle is going to stay there too, and that really doesn't leave us enough space to stay ourselves. So we're thinking about either getting a hotel or an Airbnb, but we have to find one, and there's not a lot of them in Rhode Island where they live. So I'm not sure what we're going to be able to do.
Hearings that
Oh, you mean Monday? Yeah, there can still be a podcast on Monday. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to stay Monday night though.
I don't think
I thought I told you all that, and you're like, so the podcast. I'm like,
so.
no, you silly Billy.